upside down. Amen. It's going to be worth it, people. I promise you it's going to be worth it. I promise you it's going to be worth it. I just want to say that again and again and again. I promise you that. I promise you that. Sometimes we just want to give up. We just want to quit. We just want to give up, but I promise you, if you will endure to the end, it's going to be worth it. I can promise you that. Thank you to our worship team. Amen. Let's God is so good to us. God is so good to us. I want to tell you a quick story before I start this morning. Something that transpired yesterday. Andre and I had this idea that we were going to bring his car, or one of his antique cars, to the cruise in. So we had this plan that he and I would bring this thing, and it was very nice. And coming from kind of the tail end of the power motors, I mean kind of those muscle cars. So I'm trying to say, air. You like it when you push that thing and it just revs, man. It just, boy, it sounds good. No, nothing in there except motor and mufflers, man. It just, boom, man, it sounds good. So we cranked that thing up, and Mom was going to follow us. We come down the mountain and it quits. I'm not saying they're always perfect, but it sure did look good. So we kind of dead in the water there next to the golf course. So he's like, hey. Before you tee off, I need you to come up here and help me a minute. So I just happened to know, bring the boys, go ahead, push this car for us over in the church parking lot. So we pushed it over there. Well, we cranked again, and it cranked. So we said, maybe it's about to run out of gas. So we put it in gear and we punched it. Man, we were moving on. We got just about to the first tee, and it just quit. So we were going way too fast to whip it into Larry and Janice's house. We would have kind of maybe flipped that thing. So we're just flying through there. Andre says, well, what are you going to do now? I said, I think I'm going to whip it down /lane towards Sparky's. So we whipped it in there. So we got down in that bottom, couldn't make it on the hillside, put it over in the grass there a little bit, put it in park. So I said, I know exactly what we'll do. We'll walk up here because they're getting hogs ready and all that stuff. We'll ask somebody that knows about mechanicking, because I'm like a deer in headlights. So we walked up there, and Earl was there, and Sparky and Tom, and there's a few of them, and they were cooking, they were resting, they were wiping sweat. And I said, come on, help me. So we go over there, might be out of gas, so put some gas in it, get out there and pour it in the carburetor, crank it, it just run, it quit. So Mom and Andre says, "Fooey on it, let's call AAA." So Mom's in her truck. Now this is my mama. Mom's in her truck. It's 7 years old and it's got 32,000 miles on it. It's just looked like it was the day Brenda. It's got an extended cab with some little bitty seats in the back. My mama clearly has never been back there. I don't even know if she knew it had back seats. So I pulled around. Andre, get in here. Andre says, well, let's go home. Andre gets in. I mean, this is my mama. My mama is not 80 years old yet. I'm going to tell you, she's not 80 years old yet, but she will be when it comes back around. So I'm not telling her age.
No, we don't know.
Mom, jump in the back. Mom says, I'll take you to get your car, and then you come back down and I'll pick up Andre. That's hot. I said, Mom, just jump in the back. My mama, not quite yet 80, jumps in the back of that truck like a 16-year-old kid, jumps in the back of that truck and squats down. I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? You told me to get in the back. No, get in the back seat. I ain't driving around in the lawn in the back. I'm on the 70s anymore. I'm not going to drive up the road. I'll get in the back of the truck if you want. I'm not going to drive up the road and there goes Steve. He pastors that church and makes his mama. I did that my mama gonna live to be about 180. She gonna live a long time. Now I'm gonna tell you, that's a true story. I'm like, what is she doing? Mom, get out back in the truck. But I want you to look with me today. David's already, and I want to be honest with you, I have watched one episode in my lifetime of The Walking Dead. So I don't know what he played. I've only ever have I ever watched anything, and it was for 1 hour. And I love you guys, and please let me apologize to the bluegrass fans in here for that rude and ugly comment that David had said earlier. Bluegrass, I'm going to tell you something. I play guitar. And if you've ever sat next to a bluegrass player, you put your guitar up. That's how intimidated I am. But anyway, my David has played something, and I have no idea what it was. I don't watch it. I don't know anything about it. I've never went to a movie about a zombie. But I just know that it is very, very popular. It has a cult following. So I want you to know, today we're going to talk about The Walking Dead. So I want you to look at some scriptures with me. We're going to go through these things. Galatians chapter 5, verse 17. We'll just jump right in. Galatians chapter 5, verse 17. For the flesh desires what is against the Spirit, and the Spirit desires what is against the flesh. These are opposed to each other so that you don't do what you want. Let's look at Romans chapter 8. Let's look at 5 and 6. For those who live according to the flesh, they think about the things of the flesh. But those who live, those whose lives are according to the Spirit are about the things of the Spirit. For the mindset of the flesh is death, but the mindset of the Spirit is life and peace. Let's look at another scripture, 1 Corinthians 15:19. 1 Corinthians 15:19. If we place our hope in Christ for this life only, we should be pitied more than anyone. The King James says that we are most miserable. Above all people, we are most miserable. So let me recap these scriptures. Galatians 5:17. The flesh and the Spirit are in conflict with one another. The flesh sets its desires against the Spirit. Romans 8, chapter 5 and 6, or Romans chapter 8, verses 5 and 6, setting our minds on the things of the flesh. If we get focused on the things of the flesh, then we're going to go in the wrong directions. 1 Corinthians, if we focus on the life alone that we have right here, I'm focusing on my life. I'm focusing on what's best for me. I want to tell you something. Please don't let me step on your toes if you're younger. But I see young people put stuff on Facebook. And I'm thinking, you're going through a relational problem, aren't you? I have decided that no longer am I going to let anybody speak to me and talk down to me. And I'm going to concentrate on me and my well-being. Yeah, you had a breakup, didn't you? I was thinking, you broke up with your boyfriend, didn't you? And I watch that, and I see that, and I don't look at Facebook ever so often on my phone, and so I don't look at it on the computer. So I'm just doing like that, looking to see if there's something good, like something. I read a lot of Alan West stuff, conservative Christian politics, that kind of, and I'm going through there looking, and I'm like, oh, there's one talking about a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Okay, go a little farther. But see, the thing is if we focus on this life alone, then we above all people are going to be most miserable. If we have nothing else to gain except for what we can argue about in this lifetime, we're going to be very, very miserable. Now I want to take a look at The Walking Dead. I want us to take a very vivid look at The Walking Dead. Now I want to tell you something. I'm probably going to rock your boat here a little bit. The Walking Dead are real, folks. They are real. There are 2 levels, 2 degrees, 2 sections, two types of Walking Dead, 2 characteristics of the Walking Dead, 2 agendas, 2 destinations. Yes, the Walking Dead are real, but please, I'm sorry to say to you, for those of you who eat this stuff up, they are not brain dead zombies walking about trying to devour human flesh for a living. That's not the ones I'm talking about. I don't think that we're ever going to have a lifestyle to where we have to live in tents and huts to try to avoid getting eaten. I don't think that's going to happen. But I want you to know, our sanctuaries in the world today are full every service of these types of people. 2 types of them, packed and chucked full. The only thing is, today we need to make a determination which type of zombie that we are. Which one are we? Which type of walking dead are we? Let me introduce you to zombie number 1. This person lives a contrary life to the Spirit, desires the things of the flesh. So I'm going to ask my first volunteer, James, if you come on. James is going to volunteer to be zombie number 1. Here is representation of zombie number 1. Now, obviously, I am not describing James because he is the opposite of everything that I'm describing. I'm using him because he's a willing vessel. Because he don't know that we're going to do shock therapy. Part up too. We don't disclose everything when we ask people to help. But this person lives a life contrary to the Spirit. This person lives a life desiring the things of the flesh. This person is a Galatians 5:17 type person. His flesh is in control of his thoughts. All I can think about is me. All I can think about is my desires. All I can think about are things that in my life that I can use for gain. And then we introduce into his life, we introduce an element of anger. We introduce an element of hatred, an element of self-indulgence, an element of malice and evil desires. He lets his life get introduced to things like evil intent and jealousy and envy and vindictiveness and corruption and just literally being miserable. So this person is a 2 Timothy 3:5 type person. You're going to recognize the verse when I say it. He's a 2 Timothy 3:5 type person. He has an appearance or a form of godliness, but denies the power thereof. An appearance of godliness, but denies the power thereof. So this person starts out in life. I preached a funeral not too long ago. We never write those chapters in the end when we start out in our lives. And our lives, we are the star character. We are the main character in our lives. We don't write the end that we die. We don't write the ending that we don't make it. We don't write the ending that they found us not alive anymore. We don't write the ending that way. The ending is different. So we don't start out life to be miserable. We start out life to be happy. Look at your grandchildren. Look at your children. They're happy. They play. They tear stuff up. They break stuff. They say, "I'm sorry," a lot. They say, "I didn't mean to," a lot. They point fingers. They're happy. They enjoy life. But let me explain to you. Identity comes and begins to start painting a different picture of what the person's like. This identity starts grabbing a hold. I start eating alive, literally, the hatred and the malice and the evil intent and the jealousy and the envy. And I become miserable. I become a product of what? I become the walking dead. This is our example this morning. He is literally becoming the walking dead because the things that have attached to him are beginning to make him look like what he is. This lifestyle and mentality begins to start eroding the flesh. everything that this person holds dear, it begins to start eroding away. I want to hold on so tightly to what I want. I want my life to be happy, that I hold on to and control the hurt in my life. In other words, I'm not going to allow you to hurt me. I'm going to control the hurt in my life. So I sabotage that before it begins. So I'm in control of the hurt before it begins. So everything that I hold dear, I'm holding it so tight, I'm eroding the very flesh of myself. Disfigurement and the disfiguring of the appearance, you just don't even look the same. Starts looking like the walking dead. These people start looking like the walking dead, and I told you the sanctuary was full of them. You're starting to say, yeah, I know what you're talking about now. I'm with you now. The weightiness. See, this is what I have said and preached and preached and preached. God never built us and intended us to carry the weight of the sin that we're carrying, to carry the weight of guilt that we're carrying, to carry the weight of hatred that we're carrying, to carry the weight of anger that we're carrying. God never built us to carry these types of things. It draws on us, it weighs us, it begins to disfigure us, it begins to make us look weighty and heavy and awful, and our very appearance begins to start being affected. The heaviness of the fleshly desires, it affects everything right down to the way we walk. It affects everything right down to the way we walk. And the way that we walk is the way that we witness. This person going to look, by the time it's all over with, not going to look the same. Going to look totally different. And their walk, see, let me give you an example of a Christian walk in a simple form. I have a Christian walk. I walk with confidence, not in arrogance, but in confidence in who I am, who my Savior is. I have a relationship with the Lord. I can hold my head high. I walk out with people in the eye. Let me tell you something. If you're in here and you're younger and you're going for a job interview, it doesn't matter as much what you put on the piece of paper as it does when you look them in the eye. I can promise you there's a room full of people who hire and fire in this room. And I'm going to tell you what, they'll agree with me and say, if you look me in the eye, then you are going way farther than you did before. Look me in the eye and talk to me. When young people look me in the eye, you know what Tina and I do? We say, well, that person's impressive. Not because of anything other than and let me tell you where that comes from. Where part of that comes from is the ability to walk. I have a walk that looks like I'm a Christian. I have a walk that exemplifies a confidence in my Savior. I walk and feel good about my destination. I walk and I feel good about my life. I walk and I feel good about my daily stroll hand in hand with the Lord. I feel good about it. Tina and I went with her the other day to price the job. We go into the people's house. We walk in there, and she's in there with the lady. She's sick. She's got cancer. And we're in here looking at converting her bathroom to be able to be more usable for her. I'm in here with the husband. He's giving me the woes as to why she's not going to live. Tina's in here crying with a woman. And we walk in, and this is exactly what we did. We walked like we could pray with somebody. And we walked in there, our heads held high. We said, look, is it okay if I pray with you? Yes, I really appreciate it. Do you have a church home? Yes, I do. Well, praise the Lord for that, but this is what they said. We can't go because I'm too sick. That doesn't matter. If you don't have a church family that's praying for you, then we above all people could be most miserable. So I was about to get into the depths of why we need to be saved. No, absolutely. Well, can I pray with you? Please do. Lord, I'm going to pray for this Miss Carolyn, or was it Carolyn? Jamie. Jamie. I remembered it. God knows names a whole lot better than I do. But we prayed for her. We sought the Lord for her. We prayed for her and her husband. And God ordained that time of meeting, and it was a good time of meeting. And I'm glad that the Lord was able to do that. I'm glad. But let me tell you something. That is your Christian witness. Your walk is your witness. And when you become weighted down by all of this junk, you become weighted down by the hatred that you just store up, the envy that you just store up, the jealousy that you store up, the evil intent that you store up, the malice, all of these things, you begin to start storing these up, your walk will become affected. I can promise you this. You begin to start walking a little different. See, you start dragging that leg, you start looking a little bit more like what you're becoming. I'm looking like a walking dead. So I'm walking around and I'm just all dragging because I don't know why they make the zombies to walk like that. I mean, they're just walking, dragging. I'm thinking, why couldn't they make zombies big and strong? I don't know. But you start walking like this, and your witness is the first thing that's affected. Ma'am, would you like for me to pray with you? No, because you look like you're messed up. I don't want you to pray for me. Well, let me pray for you because I'm like a dog. And then you walk up to the person, and then not only is your walk affected, but your speech is affected. Don't think it's not. When you're not speaking the things of the Lord, you're speaking the things of the world. My speech is affected. And how do zombies talk? I'm not getting it. Are you saying that you want me to pray for you, or you want to pray for me? See, you can't even get your point across because you're just in such a... my walk is affected. I just look like the walking dead. I am a product of what I have become. I want to look like that. I have desire to look like that. This representation, this model of this person right here, I'm not going to call him James because he's not. I'm going to call him the model that we have set before you this morning. His desire in life is to be, woe me, I'm just pitiful, and I'm awful. I'm a Galatians 5:17 person. I have the identity of the flesh. My flesh has won over my spirit. I am a 1 Corinthians 15 type person. My mind is focused on the things of the flesh. I am a Romans 8 chapter 5 verse person. I've got my mindset on just me. Woe me, look at me, I'm just pitiful. And we begin to start walking like this. And our walk and our talk is totally different. We walk like we're miserable. We talk like we're miserable. We become miserable. That is what we become. And before you know it, we have painted ourselves up. People are not going to start asking this person to pray for them. You want me to pray for you? And I'm just all about myself waiting for you to pray. Sure, I want that stuff jumped all over me. That's what I want in my life. I want to become. So you're saying, if I allow you to speak into my life, then this is what I get to become? No thanks, I go hard as give me a biscuit. I'm not doing this anymore. But I want you to know, there's a different kind of zombie. This is zombie number one. The one that just is pitiful, that does that, just awful type person. The person that has become what their flesh has set out to become. But there's a different one. There's one that walks different. Well, this one walks different. There's one that acts different. Well, this one acts different. There's one that is literally the walking dead. Well, that one's the walking dead. Well, I want you to know, I want you to look at some scriptures with me. John chapter 3, verse 30. Let's look at the difference in these types of people, these types of zombies, these types of walking dead. He must increase, but I must decrease. Now, this is the guy that Jesus himself said, there is not another man that has ever lived or will live like this guy right here. Talking about John the Baptist. So if Jesus has placed him in such a position that he is to be revered and sought after, then I think we might ought to pay attention to to what he says. He says, it's time for me to decrease. And it's time for Jesus to increase. It's time for me to get less attention and time for God to get more attention. It's time for God to have more control of my life and I have less control of my life. I've come to a position to where I am mature enough to say that my God is in control of my life and I have got to decrease so He can increase. Let's look at Romans 8, chapter 8 again, but we're going to look at verse 13. Talking about the different kind of zombie. For if you live according to the flesh, you are going to die. But if the Spirit you put to death, but if by the Spirit you put to death the deeds of the body, you will live. You will live. Now let me explain this to you. If you live by the flesh, you're going to die. If you live by the Spirit, you're not going to die. So go back to that scripture that says, if I have nothing else in this world but this life, then I'm above all people most miserable. So let's look at Luke chapter 9, verse 23, and then we're going to introduce you to this guy. Then he said to them all, if anyone wants to come with me, he must deny himself. He's going to have to take up his cross, and daily he needs to do this, and he needs to follow after me. So, this is the type of person that we're talking to. I'd like to introduce you to zombie number 2. If David, if you come on, David's going to be our zombie number 2. Now, I will say this again. I have no idea what David played on his phone because I've never watched it. So I'm assuming it is the sound behind somebody about to get killed. No. Well, it's the theme song. Gotcha. I'm preaching about something I have no idea what I'm talking about. All I know is that they walk like this. So, I'm giving you the example of 2 different zombies, 2 different types of people. This person wrestles with God. And you're like, what? This person wrestles with God. Now we're talking. Get on that top rope. So hang on just a minute. You stay right there. I'm going to get on something. No, I'm just kidding. This person wrestles with God. You're like, what kind of person wrestles with God? The kind of person that wants to know God. The kind of person that has spent time with God. And what I'm saying is this person wrestles with God. God, why do children have to die? I'm wrestling with this. And God will either tell you yes, no, or I'm not going to tell you right now. But you know what? Why am I going through this? Why is my wife going through this? Why are my family, why are they like they are? You know, it is a relationship. I'm wrestling with the relationship, Lord. I'm wrestling with this. I'm wrestling with wanting to know things. And I'm wrestling, but you know what? The wrestle makes us become closer to Him. It brings us in closer. You're not going to be able to wrestle with somebody when they're on one side of the ring, you're on the other. You can't shoot paper wads at them and do any good. So you've got to get involved before you can wrestle. You've got to get close before you can wrestle. You've got to get that guy in a headlock before you can wrestle. You've got to throw down. You've got to get physical before you can wrestle. And this zombie wrestles with God. Let's look at Genesis chapter 32, verse 25. I'm going to clarify what I'm talking about. When the man saw that he could not defeat him, he struck Jacob's hip as they wrestled and dislocated his hip socket. We've got a situation. I've got to kind of get you on track here. We've got, because I've thrown one scripture in just so you may know it, but I'm going to get you up to speed anyway. We've got a guy, patriarch, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. We got the son, we've got the grandson and the son, Jacob. Jacob is running from everything. He has ran away from home because he deceived his parents. He deceived his brother. He tricked his father into giving him his birthright. He is a twin. His twin's name is Esau. Esau was the first to be born. Jacob's got his hand around his heel when he's born. He's wanting to be number one so bad he can't stand it. So, life goes on. Isaac becomes an old man. He's blind. And when he gets old, Jacob decides with the coercion of his mother that we're the birthright. Steal the birthright from your brother. He don't care about it anyway. He's out hunting. He don't care if he's all hairy, big hairy guy. He don't care. Jacob was a nice, pretty fella. Esau was rough looking, red-headed, they say. Looked rough, had big hairy arms. So he tricked him, said, hey, look, you hungry? I'll fix you something to eat, but you got to give me a birthright. I don't care. Give me what. I'll make a deal with you on whatever. Just give me something to eat. He makes the deal with him. Later on, he goes before his blind father with some skin from an animal, and he reaches out and he says, is that you, Esau? Yep, that's him because he's hairy. I want my birthright. Father, before you die, I want to give it to you. Here's your birthright. I'm going to bless you as having the birthright of the firstborn. You will carry on the name. You will carry on the legacy. And then Esau comes in, gets mad, going to kill him, and Jacob runs away. Jacob runs away to a man named Laban. He goes far away. He marries one daughter, then he marries another daughter, and Laban says, I'm going to put you out to work in my fields, and you're going to make me some money, and I'm going to pay you with livestock. So he says, which I think was a conniving way of doing business, I'm going to give you whatever spotted animal comes out, you're going to get. Just for working for me, every spotted animal that's born that hits the ground, it's yours, and the rest of them are mine. Jacob says, I can't help it if every one of them hit the ground was spotted. It wasn't mine. God done that. God is blessing me. So Laban goes, well, I tell you what, every striped one, this is apparently not working, every striped one that hits the ground, I'm going to give to you. I can't help it if the Lord makes everyone that's born striped. I can't help it that I have increased and his wealth has decreased because the Lord has blessed me. So now he's running from Laban. He's already ran for years and had families and children, and now he's trying to go back to a brother that the last he heard wanted to kill him. So Jacob gets to this edge of the river, sends his family on. In the morning, I'm going to meet my brother, and I'm going to tell you what. You go on, I'm going to stay back and hang back here. And I don't know what he was going to do. Some say he was going to hide. Some say he was trying to cry. Some say he was trying to run away. It don't matter. All I know is he met God in the wilderness by that creek bed that night. They wrestled all night long. God won the fight by dislocating the hip. All night long, they wrestled. God had him at times, well, I got you now, and at times he had him. And then it was back and forth, and it was awful. And then it got worse, and then all of a sudden we had him again. I got him. And all night long they wrestled. I don't know how Jacob had the strength to do that. But God finally had to reach around. Jacob, the sun's about to come up. If you see me and you look at me, you ain't going to be able to live. He dislocated his hip, fell down on the ground. Jacob, the word Jacob. See, back in the Old Testament, if you had a name, it was an identity. It was an identity. That's why God changed people's names. It wasn't just a name. Your name just wasn't John or Rex or Steve. See, I used to be Steve, but now people call me Pastor. See, it's different. See, people had a name. Jacob meant supplanter or deceiver. So he goes through life being known as the deceiver. He's lived his life very well like a deceiver. He has deceived his family. He has deceived his brother. He has ran away. He has had conflict with his father-in-law. He had conflict in the marriages. He had conflict in every aspect of his life. And he's running again. And God asked him while they were wrestling. He asked him, what's your name? God knows his name. God knows his name. God said, what's your name? What's your name? Tell me what your name is. Be honest with me and tell me what your name is. And they wrestle. Tell me what your name is. Tell me, I want you to admit what your name is. Speak it. Don't hide from it and don't run from it. We are at the edge of the water. We can't go. You can't go back and you can't go forward. You can't go back as who you are and you can't go forward as who you are. Tell me what your name is. And Jacob finally says, my name is Jacob. I am a deceiver. My identity is a deceiver. So in Old Testament names, he was giving him his character. Your name told a story about you. But see, God says, nuh-uh, no longer, my friend. See, here's where we are now. God killed the very character and identity of Jacob with one touch. Wrestled with him. He had him, and at times he had God, and at times God had him. And they wrestled back and forth. And Jacob holding on to him at times, and the Lord held on to him, and he reached back and he touched his hip. To this day, Jewish people will not eat the thigh muscle. They will not eat of that meat from any animal because of representation and respect out of what God did to Jacob. He touched him, and it gave him a lasting reminder that you're no longer a deceiver. You're no longer a deceiver, but your new name is now Israel. You're no longer going to be Jacob. You didn't know we was going to get to this point tonight, did you, Jacob? You didn't know we were going to do this tonight. You thought maybe you might run away. You thought maybe you might hide and wake up and it'll all be gone. You thought maybe you might come over here and pray and I'd kill you. You thought anything in this world, but I'm changing your name. I am making you different. You have a different identity. See, Jacob means deceiver. Israel means one who strives with God. I think I would want to go around my life being known as, hey, there goes the deceiver. There goes the deceiver. Hey, deceiver, where are you going, deceiver? But instead, I walk around and it's like, how you doing? One who strives with God. Good to see you today. Do you need something? Hey, pray for me, would you? One who strives with God. That is my new name. It means he has striven with God. You are now, Jacob, is what he was saying. Jacob, you are now the walking dead. You are dead to who you used to be. You are dead to what you once were. I have killed the old image of you, Jacob. I have killed it. And most importantly, I have killed the old image that you had of yourself. Remember the man in the sand? If we can't get past that, then we're not going to be effective for the Lord. I have killed your image that you had of yourself. I have assassinated that. You no longer have to walk around in defeat. You walk around in power. I've killed that thing that crippled you. Jacob, I've killed that thing that crippled you. He says, I've just crippled you physically for the rest of your life. I have reached around with a holy touch, and I have touched your hip socket, and I have crippled you for the rest of your life. Now you are free from what crippled you mentally your whole life. Do you see what I've done for you? Do you see? And Jacob grabs a hold of him and says, leading up to this fact, Jacob grabs a hold of him and says, not so fast. Not so fast, big guy. I've walked around my whole life known as the deceiver. My family hates me. My father died and I wasn't there. My mother's probably dead and gone. My brother hates me. He's coming in the morning to kill me. My father-in-law's wanting to hunt me down. My children don't respect me. You're going to bless me. You're going to bless me. And he's like, hang on here. Bless me. I don't want to go any farther like this. Let me tell you something. There's times when we've got to get to that point to where I got a hold of God and I ain't letting go until I get my blessing. I'm not going to let go. Jacob grabs you and says, I'm not letting go for nothing. Not until you bless me. Not until you bless me. Bless me. I'm not going to let go. The sun's about to come up. I'm telling you. God says, the sun's coming up, Jacob. If you don't let me go, you're going to die. I don't care. I'd rather die in this wilderness than to keep living like I'm living. Bless me. And God says, what's your name? Tell me what your name is. Tell me what your name is. And he finally says, I am a deceiver. My name is Jacob. I have an identity that follows me everywhere I go. And God says, not anymore, Slick. Not anymore. Now I have crippled you physically, and I've given you a new identity. Every time that Jacob limped, Jacob had a limp after that. Man alive. What's wrong with you, Jacob? Oh, no, forget that mess. My name's Israel. My name's Israel, and I walk like I am an Israelite. I walk differently than I did. I had an encounter with God in bushes that night. In the sand, I still spitting sand out between my teeth. I fought with Him all night long, and I have a limp, and it is a daily and minute by minute and second by second reminder that God won in my life, and that I have no more control, but He has control. I walk like I'm a Christian now. I walk like I'm part of the walking dead now. I walk because I'm dead to who I once was. I don't have an identity like I did. I'm not who I used to be. But let me tell you something as our worship team comes, and you can't go to shit. God usually, now there's times when I've seen Him do some things, but I'm going to tell you what God I've seen and witnessed that God usually won't do. He usually won't use us until He has broken us. And the longer it takes for us to become broken, the longer it takes for that to happen. I may just flow through life. I'm an example of that. Sometimes you want to kick and scream. But God wants us to become broken. See, becoming broken shows up in the way that we walk. It shows up in the way that we walk. When we're beaten down, when we have the weight of the world on our shoulders, when the heaviness of life, the heaviness of hatred and envy and strife, the jealousy and the malice, that affects our walk. We walk like the walking dead. But God says, that's not the type of walking dead I want you to be. I want you to be like this walking dead. One that walks, yeah, your walk is noticeable because you walk different. You don't walk the same as you used to. You have a different gait about you than you ever did before. See, we look at two zombies. One beaten down and disfigured. The other walking in power and forgiveness. They're both identified as the walking dead. One is a slave to his identity. How many of those folks are in here, and how many of those folks are out there? How many of them are all around us? They are a slave to their identity. They look like walking dead. One of them's a slave to his identity, but the other, he's empowered by his identity. What's different about you? I'm part of the walking dead, big boy. We walk different. Yes, I do. I walk like Jacob who became Israel. I walk different because I am different. I've spent my whole life being who I am. I've spent my whole life not happy with who I am. But now God has forgiven me, and I don't look the same. I don't walk the same, and I don't act the same. I look different than I've ever looked before. I look different. 2 times, let me finish up. Thank you. Thank you to my volunteers. Thank you. Thank you for volunteering. Very good zombies. 2 times Jacob was asked who he was. You're doing a good job. 2 times Jacob was asked who he was. Go with me on this one real fast. He was asked who he was twice. One time he was asked by his father, "Who are you?" When he had that sheepskin or that lambskin or that animal skin on his arm. You can't see me, can you, Dad? Who are you, Esau? Yes. Touch me and see. He was asked by his father who he was, and he lied and deceived his father. Later on, he was asked by God who he was, and he answered, "My name is the deceiver." When his father asked him his identity, he lied to steal his brother's birthright. When his heavenly Father asked him his name, he answered truthfully, "I am a deceiver. I'm sick and tired of lying. I'm sick and tired of running. I'm sick and tired of being affected by everything around me. My name is a deceiver. I walk as a deceiver. And then God said, finally, you recognize who you are. No, sir. Not any longer. You don't walk like the walking dead any longer, big boy. Now you walk different. Now I'm changing your name. Now I'm changing your direction. Now I'm changing your life. You've got an opportunity to be something that you've never been before. Israel. No longer do I call you Jacob. I call you Israel. Because you're one of my boys now. You're one of my kids now. You identify yourself with me now. He was able to walk out there. Now this is what I think before we stand. I have this sneaky suspicion that in the woods that night, amongst the trees and on the other side of the river, I have this idea that he might have been going to take off and run. I have this idea that he might have been praying, Lord, give me the strength because I'm going to meet my brother in the morning. He's going to try to kill me. Let me kill him before he has a chance to kill me. So let me stab him right in the neck. I kind of think, that's just me, I kind of think that maybe he took out of there thinking, if I can walk up to my brother and deceive him, if I can act like I'm humbling myself before him, I can strike before he strikes me. Maybe I'll try that approach. But when you wrestle with God, and God wins, and God changes your identity, you come across that river with a whole different game plan. It don't matter what you think of me anymore. It doesn't matter who you think I am anymore. It doesn't matter the history that we had. What matters is you are my brother, and I'm willing to give you everything I've got because I love you. Forgive me, my brother. Can you see that happening? Can you see that? I want you to stand with me. And I want you to know the Lord today. I want you to know Him in the power of His resurrection. I want you to know Him in the fellowship of His sufferings, even unto death, the Word says. I want you to know Him. And I want to give you an opportunity to do that. I want you to pray this morning a salvational prayer. If you have never prayed it before, you have the opportunity to do it today. If you want to do that, raise your hand and let me know. Raise your hand, close your eyes, bow your head, and raise your hand. Nobody's going to look around. Nobody's going to judge you. There's one thank you. Is there another thank you? And another thank you. And another thank you. Is there anybody else that say, I want to pray that salvational prayer and I want my life to be changed? Because even if you can't raise your hand, I'm giving you an opportunity to pray. We're going to pray out loud. We're going to seek the Lord out loud. We're going to pray where everybody can hear us. And let me tell you, we work as a team at ChristPoint Church. And the team gets things done. So I want you to pray this prayer with me. Pray it out loud. Do it right now. Dear Lord. Help me. I say it again loud. Dear Lord. I come before you. I need a new identity. I need a new direction. I need a new focus. I need my heart to be cleansed. I need my spirit to be renewed. Lord, I come before you. I ask for forgiveness of my sins. I ask you to heal my soul. I ask you to heal my mind. Forgive me and help me to walk in forgiveness. I praise you for what you've just done. I thank you for salvation. I thank you, Jesus, for the strength to walk in this forgiveness. In your name I pray. Amen. Amen. With your heads bowed, your eyes closed, if you prayed that, you meant that, and that was your first time, I want you to raise your hand. Let me know. There's two. Thank you. There's another. Thank you. I prayed it. I meant it with everything that's in me. I want my life to be changed. I want to be a product of goodness and righteousness, and I want to show the people around me. Sometimes we just got to have a mentality that I want to show everybody. Don't feel guilty about that, because I am that person too. I want to show them that God can do this through me. I'm going to show them that God is victorious through me. Show them. Prove them. I've always said, who is this they? This they that controls our lives. Show them that you are a product of forgiveness, that you are walking in righteousness and forgiveness, that you are different, that you are the walking dead. Ain't nobody going to change it. I'm dead to who I once was. Now I want to ask you, as we sing and we begin to worship, what are you struggling with? Because that's what we're going to pray about at the altar. What are you struggling with? What is your battle? What is your personal testimony that you're trying to find? What is going on in your life? Bring it to this altar. Seek the Lord. Hunger after His righteousness. Bring it and let God move through it. I ask you to come in power and in might. As we worship, the altar is open, and it's open for you. It is open for you. It is open for you. It is your place of victory. Don't let this time pass you by, Miss Nana. We've added chairs to help accommodate all your friends that you're inviting. Thank you, Lord, for your blessings. Thank you for your goodness, Lord.